Hi, friends. It's your old friend, host Eric here. Up early. Why? Well, in a little more than an hour, I have to start judging a debate tournament. I've got a policy round, first round to judge. It's a tournament normally hosted in Utah called the Red Rock Classic. But you know, all the tournaments are online this year, so it's kind of nice. It makes it easy to enter whatever you want to enter, even if it's would normally be a big endeavor to get there. It's not this year, which is kind of nice. But to be honest, I'm not really looking forward enthusiastically to judging today. I'm still in sleepy week, still feeling kind of undermotivated. Can anybody put something in the chat so I see if it's working? I guess I could do it myself. So yeah, I've been getting a lot of sleep lately, but I'm still not feeling particularly energetic. Time for the first bong rip of the day, which is always a nice bong rip, you know. I still have no reason to believe the chat is working, so if anybody wants to put something in the chat, that would be helpful. You know, I don't really like judging a lot because, well, for a lot of reasons, but one of which I know. Thank you, Freddie Forgiato. One of the reasons is I know that the kids are getting judged properly. You know, it's like I hate it when the wrong team wins, even if it's my team. It's like debate's pretty clear cut usually. It's not a matter of opinion at all. It's like unless it's a really sloppy round or a really amazing round, it's almost always pretty clear cut who won, you know, and for good reasons. Hi, the Right Reverend Lauren McGinley. Yeah, I did remember your title. That's why you only fly first class on British Airways. I'm judging in the Red Rock Classic debate tournament. Like I got a 7 a.m. round after judge in policy debate. Thing is, my kids entered in Lincoln Douglas. I expected to be judging Lincoln Douglas, but it got me in policy debate. So that's fine. I don't mind that because it means the tournament is trying to put the best judges in policy, which I understand. And I'm happy to judge policy. The only problem with policy is the rounds are almost 2 hours long. Well, I guess I'd say policy is easier to judge in the sense that they have more time to work out all the argument chains. So by the end of the round, it's pretty easy usually to say why or what the voters are. Whereas in LD, it can be a little bit more challenging to say what the voters are because, well, often you just don't get very good negation in LD. I definitely think there are two types of people, dopamine types and serotonin types. Those may or may not correlate with introversion and extroversion. I'm definitely a dopamine type. But it's important to remember that extroversion and introversion are not traits. They're descriptors of functions. That was a good bong rip. Well, economics is another one of those areas, like cognitive functions, that need somebody to come in and fix it. I actually have fixed economics as well. The fundamental problem with economics thinking is they don't understand what wealth is or where it comes from. That it's fundamentally first metaphysical quality, and that money, the fungible form of it, is put there to match the amount of total wealth. So it's like I think in the status quo, it's dealt with far too much TE without an adequate understanding of TI level. But I understand it, but nobody else seems to. There's some bold claims you're making. What can I tell you, man? I've encountered enough. Yeah, I know Milton Friedman, of course. He represents a TI approach to economics. But it's still wrong. As far as I can tell, I'm the only one who gets it right. Economics. But Eric, surely you can't be the only one who gets it right. I know, right? You'd think so. It seems impossible. But as far as I can tell, it's true. That makes two areas of thing that I'm the only one who gets right. Cognitive functions and economics. Oh, Eric, what do you think you are? Some sort of super genius? No, I don't. I'm just shocked at everybody else that nobody got this shit right. Well, I mean, I don't think entities can have no properties. Well, the reason people don't understand it, Cedric, is because they don't begin with the question of what is wealth. And sometimes people say, well, wealth is debt. Well, not exactly. No, you're on the right track, but it's not right. Wealth is beholdens, which is different. And it's a metaphysical, it's metaphysically real first. No, it's not the word property that's the problem, right? It's the word entity. Entities is defined are things with properties. That is to say, entities are distinct from processes because they have identity. So it's not the word property that's the problem, it's the word entity that's the problem. Wealth is jury in decline. Right. So you're saying keep the word entity and pretend that that includes something that has no properties. Well, then we've lost the word entity. It no longer means anything. In other words, Rain, no matter how much you want to, you, like everybody else in the world, cannot have your motherfucking cake and eat it too. Okay. If an entity has no color, does it has the property of it? If an entity has no color, it is transparent. But that doesn't mean it has no properties. Transparency is one of its properties. Yes, you need two cakes if you want to both have one. The idea is, I replaced it with color. And we realized that then the sentence makes perfect sense. If an entity has no color, then it is transparent, is the answer. You're not gonna weasel out of this, right? You can't weasel out of it. You can't use an example property to make your point while retaining the class property. Let's see. So what's your point, Rain? What's your point? I mean, you can identify no properties. In other words, I choose not to identify any properties of this. That's possible. You could say that a given entity has no properties that are meaningful within this set of defined sets of meaningful properties. The absence of prediction is also prediction. No. Saying I am unable to make predictions in this chaotic system is not the same thing as making a prediction. I mean, it's saying that that there's a distinction between the word prediction and guessing about the future, and that in the one instance I can make meaningful predictions because of knowledge about the system, and in the other I can't. So there are kinds of systems that lend themselves more to prediction than other kinds of systems. Well, the interesting thing, Cedric Beachy, is that Rachel takes a serotonin drug, and it made all the difference. It was the one missing piece in making her sane. And prior to that, she was sane but depressed. Predication, not prediction. Okay. Well, predication is about a causal relationship, right? So you're saying, is the absence of predication also predication? No, it's not. Things don't necessarily have to predicate on something. Interesting thing about the word predicate is it stems from the idea of a predicate. So, Eric, if you were a dopamine motivated person rather than a serotonin motivated person, I think you'd find it difficult to find a motivation. Well, that's, I guess, true. I don't know. It depends what you call motivation. I'm motivated to do this right now. Does that count as motivation? I'm motivated to pull bong rips. Does that count as motivation? See, it's like this whole notion of motivation is an interesting one because it seems to implicitly buy into a TE frame, that it's good to be motivated to do things. Well, is it really? I mean, I'm not really sure it is. I'm sure I've been convinced it is by life and such, but I may just bought into some bullshit, Okay, give me an immediate dopamine release. So in that case, then you'd say it would be very easy for me to be motivated, not difficult to be motivated, because I've made so many videos and gotten so many easy dopamine releases. Well, you're not going to find that mode of logic. That's called not logic. I mean, you could certainly have a set of objects where you have color as a possible attribute to set and choose not to set it for that particular attribute, for that particular object, right? So, for example, if I have a set of objects that includes love, apple, basketball, and running, well, I'm not going to set color for love or running, but I might set it for basketball at orange, and I might set it for apple at red or green. So in that case, certainly set theory allows us to account for what you're saying without actually doing it in the way you're saying it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's true that objects can have properties, and that Well, I mean, like, look at truth. We have true, false, and no truth value. Is no truth value a truth value? Well, yeah, it is. But, you know, which types are most common to have ADHD, ADD? Probably ENTPs and ESTPs. Well, Autumn Media, if you want to understand about truth and absoluteness, you need to read my thing on relative absoluteness and absolute relativity. There are two forms of absoluteness, and they both are absolute, but they're also relative in some sense. So understanding that is good before you talk about it. Oh, Kitty, why are you such an in and out kitty? I spend half of my time opening and closing doors for you. Yes, but you're an extraordinary beauty. I've heard the good news about your beauty being extraordinary. Oh, extraordinary beauty. Yes, Daddy loves you. Daddy loves his extraordinary beauty. Wouldn't I say this dream's a low effort activity for me? Yeah. I mean, the thing is, there is, in fact, both. There's absolute relativism and relative absolutism. So, relative absolutism is the TE frame of reference, basically, and absolute relativism is the. I'm sorry, I got it backwards. Relative absolutism is the TI frame of reference, and absolute relativism is the TE frame of reference. Which is to say, we'll be absolute about shit that's completely relative, like IQ. We're absolute about it, but it's completely relative to this test. You know, it's like we think IQ means something other than the score you got on this test, but it doesn't. That's TE mistake, right? I mean, yeah, sure, this stream's a low effort activity for me compared to a lot of things. But I mean, no matter what you think of it, Cedric Peachy, I still managed to get a lot of shit done, whether I'm on Adderall or not. Right. Let me get this document here. Okay, so if you go down to page 4 through page 8, on this document, it basically has everything my opinion is about this subject matter, Rain, in a nutshell. And it makes an advocacy of sorts as well. So, I mean, the thing is, Cedric Beachy, I don't think that serotonin does that for me. I think that dopamine does that for me. But I'm kind of sick of Adderall. It's like it's such a wrecker. You know, it's like I feel so wrecked after being on it for a while. And then it takes me days of just zonking to recover. I'm getting older. I don't have the constitution I used to have, you know? The problem is we have other cats who would come in too that I don't want to come in. It's a more complicated question than putting in a cat door. So, I mean, we've thought about the cat door thing. Yeah, you're supposed to be seeing a document. I just put the link. It's yeah, it says frames debate function bridge. And if you start on page this link right here. I just linked it right there. You still don't see my link? That's weird. Maybe YouTube doesn't want you linking to Google Docs anymore. Let me put it. Where can I put it then? I guess I'll put it in the comments of this video. I could put it in the description. Yeah, let's see. Okay, there. I put it in the description. I don't know. I think YouTube is struggling with its decision to whether or not it wants to let people put links in live streams. I guess. I don't know. Oh, wonderful kitty. Why are you so wonderful all the time? Oh, meow indeed. I love you. I love you with my emotional heart. I have feelings of emotions. I don't know why it's not letting me put it. But it's not. She's what's known, Fomalhaut, as a kitty pageant winner of the finest order. You can see her kitty pageanthood. She's a glorious beauty. Oh, glorious beauty. Well, how do I know they're not traits? Well, I mean, the thing is, from my understanding of it, being an extrovert simply means having an extroverted function first. So, the extroversion of an FE Dom versus the extroversion of a NE Dom versus the extroversion of a TE Dom, they're gonna be different expressions of extroversion. Is it a show cat? Only in my imagination. But she certainly is a beauty. Oh, yes. Oh, there's no disputing that. Oh, no. Oh, the glory. She's one of the 8 natural wonders of the world, actually, along with the Grand Canyon. She's like the Grand Canyon of cats. Aren't you, kitty meow? So, what does it mean to say that I'm an extrovert? Well, in part, Cedric Beachy is correct that it means this is a low effort activity for me. What do you think about existence is not a predicate? I agree with you, existence is not a predicate. I think that's a very smart thing to say, Rain. I've never heard it before either. I think that explains. Yeah, I got to judge at 7 a.m. because the tournament is in Utah. I mean, I don't know where they come from. You mad, bro? I don't know. I'm judging policy, which is cool. I like judging policy. Policy, though, the only problem with judging policy is it's about a 2-hour long round. But I tell you, that's one of the great advantages of remote tournaments is I'm here. I've got plenty of weed. You like the cat better than the Grand Canyon? Me too, frankly. See, like, this is how much creamer you need to pour in. Okay, a lot of it. Now that's enough creamer. And it's going to be a frothy, frothy cup of coffee. If you like your coffee frothy, then you're liking frothy coffee. Yes, if you like your coffee frothy, then you're liking frothy coffee. Mr. Morton is the subject of the sentence. Are you saying that's an example where existence is the predicate? Oh, horse mumbler. You INTPs are hilarious. Both you and Rain are fantastic. Are any polar bad at Inky Pinkies? Yes. Any polar are bad at Inky Pinkies. But you know what? The truth is, a lot of people are bad at Inky Pinkies. I find my any tests way more reliable than any other tests. Well, you're thinking you're ISTP? Well, I don't know, Rain. I was assuming you're INTP because of the good TI. My bad. My bad for jumping to assumptions. Formal hot, you're wrong. The Grand Canyon loses to my cat. And I want you to know my cat's very offended. You have a new older ENTP mentor at your work, so I've noticed you've been effing my way into information all day long. I believe my cat could climb out of the Grand Canyon too, but the only way I could conceive of her doing that is if we're part of a sexy photo shoot. I have no thoughts about that, you mad bro. I figure my cat must, when I'm not around, pose for the cat swimsuit issue of Cat Illustrated. Well, Citribici, we have come up with a better system. It's called cognitive functions, as Eric understands it. And it's more accurate than any other understanding of personality. So, congratulations, you got what you wanted. I mean, cognitive functions explains cognitive functions. It doesn't explain things that aren't cognitive functions, and you shouldn't expect it to. No, I mean, I actually have to judge a debate rounds today. I have to judge 3 rounds. And it looks like I'm judging policy debate, which means I've got to judge 3 2-hour rounds today, which is kind of a pain in the ass. But I like it too. I feel it's rewarding because you get to hear people actually debating, which is nice. It's a nice change of pace from around here. I mean, I'm getting paid something today, but it's because my students debating, so we have a judge obligation. So I try to make things affordable for my kids. So I'm not making much today, but I kind of figure like the tournament goes with the services. So they pay me for all the hours that I work by the hour, but they don't pay me by the hour for tournament days because that would be too expensive for them. And, it's important for me to facilitate my kid competing. So that's why I'm judging, because if your kid competes and you have a judge obligation, you can buy it out, but they prefer good judges. And no, I just trust like this. It's remote, which makes it a lot easier than it used to be. It used to be every time that I had a debate tournament I'd be driving somewhere right now. It'd be 6:30 in the morning. I'd be driving off to wherever to go to the tournament. And, we were mostly stuck with local tournaments. But in this case, this year, with all the tournaments remote, so, my clients are like, okay, we want to debate we want to debate the tournament that's in Utah. Well, no problem, because it's all remote anyway. Well, So, I mean, I used to foam a hot. I've been debate coaching a long time. I'm past that stage. I did when I used to be a coach of a big school and stuff. I'd show up dressed up, but why bother? I mean, that's the beautiful thing about debate is the higher the level of debate, the less nonsense there is. In college, nobody dresses up. In high school, all the kids show up in suit and ties, but once you get to like TOC and shit, then they start taking the ties off, and people, it's like it's too much about the debate at that point. So, can we justify odd statements and all of the premises without having to swallow some of them intuitively true but not TIable? Well, I think the answer to that question is that you have to begin with a question, a binary question. For example, is slavery morally acceptable to you personally? If the answer is yes, then you can't really justify any kind of moral statements without an appeal to an intuitive understanding of morality. But I don't think that makes it any less TIable. In other words, you can still TI all your negative moral obligations based on people's the need to have a personal stance on certain questions. And the fact that those stances are going to be expressed in one of two binaries. Why do professional psychologists prefer the Big Five to MBTI? Intellectual herding, I guess you'd call it. There's been a failure to frame analysis on scientific processes themselves. So psychology doesn't really do enough, I guess you'd say, self-analysis. I mean, ownership of humans. Which one's stronger, generally speaking, TI third or eighth? It's a tough question to answer. It depends. I've seen eighth be very strong. TI is one of the more trainable of the functions, so I think Horsemumbler's answer is pretty good too. Psychology as a field is largely a hodgepodge of empirics and metaphors with little real use of the scientific method. Right. I mean, it comprises multiple sets of stuff, right? So there's like psychiatry stuff that's very scientific method-y because it's testing drugs. Then there's theory, which is what cognitive functions is an example of. As theory goes, cognitive functions is the strongest theory in psychology besides attachment theory, which seems to be very accurate, Then there's practice, which is to say there's talk therapy or drug therapy. And, of the expressions of psychology, talk therapy is probably the least scientifically validated, but it's replaced other forms of talk therapy that people have engaged in throughout history, Eric, is psychology a tool of mental social change, or is it an actual science designed to provide assistance to individuals with mental health problems? Well, psychiatry is the latter, for sure. And I've gotten to see psychiatry work beautifully with Rachel. So, very cut and dry, black and white, right? When Rachel was not on the right drugs, she was crazy. When she is on the right drugs, she's not. Cut and dry. I mean, the thing about the Big Five personality theory is it's not a personality theory. It's a metaphor. It says people have these attributes that we can measure consistently. These attributes, it doesn't give you any blueprint at all to understanding other people. It says other people are attributes they don't have. Is heritable, meaning what? I mean, not as far as I can tell. If you mean like, am I more likely to be higher, higher conscientiousness because my parents are? Well, that didn't prove to be the case for me at all. So yeah, I mean, the Big Five is a metaphor. It's not even a theory. It's not anything. It's like IQ. It's a test, People get obsessed because you can get a lot of instances of test data and you think that therefore makes it meaningful, but it's got to link to something meaningful. If it's not linked to any kind of theory of understanding as to why, then it's not explanatory at all. It's not a theory, Theories explain things. Big Five explains absolutely nothing. Ssuartscire, I would not put a lot of weight into that clumsiness thing there at all. Okay. I've not found it to be the case, actually, that SC people don't self-identify as clumsy. Okay, well, and what good does that do me, Cedric Beachy? I mean, Ssuartscire, if in fact you are OOOO, then ISTJ is very likely. Brain, it has it exactly right about Big Five. I mean, I don't understand why it's useful to me. So what are you saying? That I should look to my Big Five to see what my predicted level of success is and then resign myself to that? Is that what you're suggesting? So do I just, when I fail according to conventional standards, do I just point to the Big Five as to why? quantitative measure is a major reason why the big five. Quantitative about what, though? It's metaphor. People don't have those attributes. Cedric? I mean, I've explained before. I mean, it's definitive. It's like that answers your point of reasoning. There's no further to go with it. You're making a big fuss about metaphors. Yeah, so it's a metaphor, so it's not even a real thing you're talking about. People don't have conscientiousness. It's not something that people possess. So no matter how much data you have on it, you're just playing pretend. This is not that complicated a notion. You don't want to play pretend, right? You want something that's serious and that's real and means something, right? But what's the point of prediction? As I said, prediction for whom? So George Morris, I don't know. I'm pretty sure you're just here to be unpleasant. So I don't know. I'm not really interested in debating anything at the moment. I've got to judge some debates in a little bit. Right. With no explanation, prediction is pointless. And so George Morris, if you are it seems like that's kind of what you're conceding, then you really shouldn't be here because we've already determined you're an asswipe who's not capable of having real conversations. So, Cedric Beachy, I asked you a question. Don't answer it with a question. Answer my question. I asked you, how is this valuable to me? Is not an answer. Don't be a fucktard. Answer the questions I ask. This is the kind of fucktardery the Big Five encourages in general. People who are in favor of Big Five are the same sort of people who answer my questions with questions. Mean things. Use words right. It makes me happy to be judging debate shortly and getting away from this fucking garbage. Yeah, I gotta work today. The rat test is, it's not that reliable. It's pretty good at picking out ESFJs and ESTJs, but that's about it. Okay, but this is the problem, Cedric Beachy. This is why it matters whether it's a metaphor or not. You can't build a fucking theory out of metaphor, shithead. I'm done. I got to work in 15 minutes anyway. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for being here.